The Battle of Mogadishu. This was a battle between US forces and Somalian militia fighters in Mogadishu, Somalia in October 1993. US forces had entered Somalia to protect the distribution of food aid, which was being hampered by local warlords in the absence of a functional government. Absent from the country since the dictatorship of Mohammed Saad Barre was overthrown in 1991. The United Nations had taken on the task for nation building by attempting to build a coalition government, and at the order first of President George Bush and Bill Clinton, the US Army took the lead in this work, dubbed Operation Restore Hope. The Americans decided they had to neutralize the warlord they identified as the worst offender, Mohammed Farah Adid, who had refused to participate in any power-sharing agreement and whose Habib clan militia has been principally responsible for ousting Saad Barre. Major General William Garrison was tasked with leading a raid by US Special Operations Forces, composed of Army Rangers, 10th Mountain Division soldiers, and Delta Forces fighters, on the Olympic Hotel in Mogadishu, where Adid was thought to be hiding. On October 3, Operation Gothic Serpent began. Landed from helicopters, an assault group secured the hotel and took 24 prisoners, although not Adid, who was absent. Special Operations Forces in a column of vehicles following to extract them from the hotel were delayed by Somalia roadblocks and subjected to continual fire. 2 Black Hawk helicopters were shot down by rocket-propelled grenade, leaving surviving aircrew at risk at the helicopter crash site. Most of the troops fought through to the first crash site, but they were then pinned down under heavy fire. The troops could only shelter in nearby houses and wait for morning. 2 US soldiers reached the second crash site and fought off Somalian fighters for a short time before they were killed and the helicopter pilot captured. The next morning, a US and UN relief force of about 100 vehicles fought its way to the first crash site and extracted survivors, fighting a running battle every step of the way. The bodies of dead Americans were dragged through the street by Somalians. The battle was considered a fiasco for US forces, and it effectively spelled the end of the US mission in Somalia, with Clinton pulling troops out soon afterward. US casualties in the Battle of Mogadishu numbered 18 dead and 84 wounded among fewer than 200 personnel involved in the initial assault. Perhaps 700 to 1,500 Somalians died. The figure is still unknown. There were also 13 casualties among the UN personnel. The Battle of Mogadishu incurred the largest number of US casualties in the direct conflict since the Vietnam War. Despite the loss of life and the subsequent withdrawal, the US Army considered the Battle of Mogadishu to be a tactical success, in which a force of fewer than 100 head off a heavily armed opponent at least 10 times stronger than theirs.